Finnegans Wake, Book 1, Chapter 4, Section 92. The hilario hoot of Pegger's wind-up come justled as neatly with the tristatone of the wet pinters as they were issetil, equals of opposites, evolved by a one same power of nature or of spirit east, as the sole condition and means of its hymunder manifestation, and polarized for union by the symphysis of their antipathies. Distinctly different were their duodestinies, whereas the maidens of the bar, a peerless trentine, a lunarized score, when the Erantis murmured, Show'em the posed, fluttered and flattered around the willingly praised, nominating him for the swiney prize, complimenting him, the captivating youth, on his having all his senses about him, stinking thyacinths through his hair, oh fiend, oh door, and bringing bosses to his cheeks. Their masculine oirisha rose, his niece clear, and legando round his nice new neck for him, pizzi cagnoling his woolly wags, with their dindy-dandy, sugar-da-dandy, metri me, postine flones, courier, to believe them of all his untiring young dames, and send treats in their times. Ye men, but it was not unobserved on those present their worships, how of one among all her deputized to defame him by the Lunar Sister Celibacy Club, a love-looking leap girl, all a lonely, gentia gemma of the make giddy culling reeks, he, wan and pale in his unmixed admiration, seemed blindly, mutely, tastelessly, tactlessly enamorat, with Hierophon him in shining amminglement, the shame of his hisu shifting to the shimmering of hers. Youthsy beautsy he's her top, and she'll tell Mimis when she gaze home, till the wild wish of her shishea melted most musically mid the dark deep of his shay shown. And whereas distracted, for was not just this in effect which had just caused that the effect of that which it has caused to occur? The four justicers laid their wigs together, Untius, Uncius, Punctus, and Pilax, but could do no worse than promulgate their standing verdict of nolens Brummens, whereon after King, having murdered all the English he knew, picked out his pockets and left the tribunal scot-free, trailing his tummy-lummy's tunic in his hurry therein under, proudly showing off the blink pitch to his Brit gits to prove himself ain't Placius, a rael genteel, to the Swiss bodyguards curial but court-like, Commodore Valley O'Harry, Arthur Jenny Rosie, the fire-water Louvre, retooted with such a vine-smelling fortituder, ages raw-down hams, tan you hide as would the Latin stomach, even of a Tumus Equinus. We were prepared for the chap's clap-cap, the accent, but took us as by surprise, and now we're gashing it gush-gash from a burner, so that all the 2 from 30 advocatesses within echo, pulling up their breaths at the grickery, shun the punman, safely and soundly succored, that fenemine parish poser. How dare he? Promptu, right away, Hames, much to his thanks, gratias sagama, to all the wrong donatrices, bistring battle's dingy dwellings, where, for like your true Venuson Esau, he was dove timid as the deers at bottom. He shat in zoo, like the muddy goldbind who he was, done, the chastity's bells conclaiming, you and your gift of your gaft, of your garbage of butter favour. And gain gridando hon verg now putter scam sham shames. And so it all ended. Arthur Kama Dharma Moksa. Askava for the K. And so everybody heard their plaint and listened to their applause. The letter, the litter, and the soother, the bitter, of eyebrow penciled by lip stipple penned, borrowing a word and begging the question and stealing tinder and slipping like slope soap. From dark Rosa Lane, a sigh and a weep. From Lesbia Louche, the beam in her eye. From lone Cooganberry, his arrow of song. From Sean Kelly's anagram, a blush at the name. From I, the Sullivan, that trumpeting tramp. From suffering Dufferin, the sit of her style. From Kathleen Maverlan, her maybe fair efforts. From Phil the Pot Curran, his Scotch love, Matrither. From him Opera number 2, Phil Adolphos, the weary o, the leery o, the Samuel lever or Damuel lover, that jolly O'Malley bit, or that bored saunter by. From Tim Finnegans weak tribes, loss of strength to his saw wheel. From the wedding on the green, a girlies. The great Nass of Joy Boys. From Pat Mullen, Tom Dallin, Dan Meldon, Don Malden. A slick stick picnic made and moat by Muldoons. The solid man saved by his sillied woman, crack-a-jolking away like a hearse on fire. The elm that whimpers at the top told the stone that moans when stricken. Wind broke it, wave bore it, reed wrote of it, Sice ran with it. Han tore it, and wild went war. Hen treeved it, and plight pledged peace. It was folded with cunning, sealed with crime, uptied by a harlot, undone by a child. It was life, but was it fair? It was free, but was it art? The old hunks on the hill read it to perlection. It made Ma make Mary and Sissy so shy, and rub some shine off shame, and put some shame into Sean. Yet Una and Ita spill famine with drought, and Agrippa, the pro-pastor, spells tribulations in his threen. Ah, Fucht Frucht, timid Dainids, Enna Milo Melum. Frey is Frau, and Swie is two, Su, and Swo is free. Anna Malawo is we, a pair of Cinco panties with amygdaline eyes. One old obster lumpy pumpkin, and 3 meddlers on their slice. And that was how Fram seen from son Asity arose, fin, fun, a sitting arrows. Now, tell me then, what was it? Eh? Hmm? Oh? So, there you are now. There they were. When all was over again, the 4 with them sitting with up in their judges' chambers, in the muniment room of their Marshalsea, under the suspices of Lally, around their old traditional tables of the law, like so many sullens who talk it all, rolled the sem again. Well, and truly dry, suffering the law the dream, according to King's Evelyns. So help her goat and kiss the book, festives and hyajinks and gintiaun, and her beaty Rosie Betty Doty, and not to forget now Aduna O'Donnell, the 4 of them, and thank court now there were no more of them. So, pass the push for port's sake, be it soon. Ah-ho, and do you remember Singabob, the bad father? The same, the great how do you call him, and his old nickname, Dirty Daddy Pantaloons, in his monopoliums, behind the War of the 2 Roses, with Michael Victory, the Sheman's priester, before he caught his paper dispensation from the old poke. Oh, Minas and Minster, York, Do I mind? I mind the gush of the mon like Bablycock manure works on a tradeswind day, and oh moily Gracies and the O'Brien Rosies chaffing him from Blookface and playing him pranks. How do you do to do, North Mister? Get into my way. Ah, dear o' me, for sail she gone over the bays, when Gina Bowdy meet and Bowdy. Yera, why would he heed that old gasometer with his whooping, cupping, and his dying Booskoff, and all the birds of the south side after her? Minxie Cunningham, their divorcee darling, Jimmy's and Johnny's to be her Joe. Hold hard. There's 3 other corners to our Isle's cork float. Sure, 'tis well I can tell a smell him H2CE3. That would take a township's breath away. Gob and I knows him too well, as I do meself. Heaving up the K-wall by the 32 to 11 with his lime-looking horse bags full of sesame seed, the Whiteside Kaffir, and his Seaman's effluvium, and his scent-painted voice, puffing out his thundering big brown cabbage. Pah! Thought I'm glad a go for his Pawsdean fune. Goborro, says he, lanky sheed. Go booga, yes, says. Oh, breezes, I sniffed that lad long before anyone. It was when I was in my far farther out at the west, and she and myself, the red-headed girl first nighting down Sycamore Lane. Fine few play we had of it, mid the kissabits frisking in the cool kirkle dusk of the lushiness. My perfume of the pampas, says she, meaning me, putting out her nether lights, and I'd sooner one precious sip at your pure mountain dew than enrich my acquaintance with that big brewer's belch. And so they went on, the 4 bottle men, the analysts, ungoyim, non-goyim, and lungoyim again, and their Anschluss about her, whose before and his whereafters, and how she was lost away in the fern, and how he was found deep on deep in any ear, and the rustlings and the twitterings and the raspings and the snappings and the sighings and the paintings and the ooh-coo-cooings and the hist, the spring apartings and the hast, the bye-bye scuttlings, and all the scandal monkers, and the full pure craigs that used to be up that time, living and lying and rating and riding around Nunsbelly Square, and all the buds in the bush, and the laughing jackass, harik, 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 the roses white in the darik, and Sunfella's nose has got rhinositis from haunting the rose in the parik. So, all rogues lean to rhyme and contradinking themselves about Lily Trilly, Law upon Hilly, and Mrs. Niall of the 9 Corsages, and the old Marquis their Besterfar, and Arar. Sure, there was never a Marquis at all, among the Manleys and the dear Sir Amory, queer Sir Rumory, and the old house by the Triple Lizard, and all the goings on so very wrong long before, when they were going on retreat, in the old gameldags, the 4 of them, in Milton's Park, under lovely Father Whisperer, and making her love with his stuff, in the languish of flowers, and feeling to find that she was mushy, and wasn't that very both of them, the Saw-sisters, oh, Drarin, oh, Machri, and Peep, meeting waters most improper, Peep-bet, bowl round the garden, trickle, 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 tris, please me, mon, may I go flirting? Farmers gone with a groom, and how they used her, mused her, licked her, and cuddled. I differ with ye. Are you sure of yourself now? You're a liar, excuse me, I will not, and you're another. And Lully, holding their breach of the peace for them, lull, lully, to give and to take, and to forego the past, and all will be forgotten. Ah, oh, it was too bad to be falling out about her kindness bit, and the shape of orang's time. Well, all right, Lily, and shake a hand, and shakes Cumore, for Craig's sake. Be it suck. Well, even should not the framing up of such figments in the evidential order bring the true truth to light as fortuitously as a dim seer's setting of a star-chart might, heaven helping it, uncover the nakedness of an unknown body in the fields of blue, or as forehearingly as the sib speeches of all mankind have foliated, earth seizing them. From the root of some founder stutter, all the soundest sense to be found immense, our special mentalists now hold, securus iundicat orbis terrarium, that by such playing possum our hagious curious ancestor bestly save his brush with his posterity, you charming co-parentsors. Us, heirs of his tail, ze gun dogs of all breeds were beagling with renounced ubi and bugles. Had to run him, given law, on a scent breast thigh, keen for the worry. View, from his holt out-ratted across the jewel-tide's genial corslands of Humphrey's Chase, from the Mullenhab and Peacockstown, then bearing right upon the Tankards town, the outlier, a white Nolian which Mr. Lowensteel Fitzurus Basset Beaters had first misbadgered for a broon of some swart. Led bears the run, then through Raystown and Horlockstown, and looping the loop the Tankerstown again. Ere canny hair for doubling through Cheeverstown they raced him, through Lollystown and Notstown to wind him by the bullies, but from the good turn when he was lost, check upon ye heel of rot, in full winter coat with ticker pads, pointing for his rooming house his old Nordist, in his roll to broil Hessians, a deaf Fuchser's Volponism, hid him close in covert, miraculously raven-fed and buoyed up in rumour, reticule onisum and obeymassum. Upon may old Bruham have his mead, the cream-clotted sherriness of cinnamon, syllabub, mickle ravid, nickel saved. Hence hounds hide home preservative, perseverance in the re-education of his intestines was the rebuttal by Wilk. He sort of get the big bulge on the whole bunch of spouse soakers, dieting against glues and gravies in that sometime pre-street pro-town. Vainly violence, virulence, and vituperation sought well-nigh utterly to attax, abridge, to derail, and depontify, to enrate, and enroad on the ungod and unhume, the great shipping mogul and underlinen overlord. But the spoil of hesitance, the spell of hesitancy, his ethic is attache, tittery taw, tattery tail, has it hence, humped and dimply, hey, a wincy wenky, assemblyman murmured, Reynard is slow, one feared for his days. Did there yawn? 'Twas his stomach, erupt, the liver, ugh, goosh, from his visuals pung, deliver him o'erload. He had laid violent hands on himself. It was brought to Fugger's newsletter, lain down, all in, fagged out with equally melancholy death, for the tridu of Saturnalia. His goat servant had paraded his willing sons to the forum, while his Jenny infanted the lass to be greeted raucously. The yard stated with hoots and Epheus, and measured with missiles 2 from 100 of manhood and wimmering of weeblies.